So Doc, you can't be looking at tiny houses.
Hey y'all.
Hey y'all. Hey y'all. What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Listen, I got another treat for you. I got another treat this week. This is extremely impromptu. Yes. This is not what was planned. However, this is how it's gonna go down. Y'all are getting okay, listen, these two right here are my sounding board, right? They tell me straight, no chaser. Then they leave me with my hurt feelings to figure it out. So I got two of the best here, right? I got Dr. Sheva Quinn. Y'all hear me talk about her all the time. She is my child's favorite teacher ever.
I don't know how that happened.
Child, my kids love Dr. Sheva Quinn. Anytime she says she's teaching something, she could say, I'm teaching how to build mud pies. They want to know where Dr. Sheva is with the mud pies. So I'm excited to have her here today. And then, of course, y'all have met Thea. Thea was here with me yesterday, y'all. These are my chicks, right? These are the ones, okay? So we're going to talk to y'all today, and the subject is what we learned while being an exhausted homeschool mom. Okay? Ooh. All right? Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Who want to go first? I should say Thea because, Thea talked for a minute.
Wait a minute.
Come on.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to say I talk more than Dr. Sheva Quinn?
I just do a lot of cussing.
Certain subjects, yes. Certain things that you are extremely passionate about, homeschool being one, yes.
Yeah, I'm all right. It's all right. Look.
All right, so let's go, y'all. Somebody tell me, what did you learn about being while being an exhausted homeschool mom?
So I learned to just quit.
No, we ain't quit. We can't quit.
We ain't quitting.
No, we ain't quit. What I decided to do, what I figured it out from being exhausted in the last 24 months was to listen to myself and to put me first. Because if I don't listen to myself and I don't put me first, don't nothing else go right. Homeschool not gonna go right. My family not gonna go right. My health not gonna go right. Whatever that list of whatever you thought you wanted to work on, it's not going to work. I don't put me first.
Right.
And it's so hard. Like, we're born. When them children born, you like throw your whole self away. Everything. Right? We do that automatically. It's so hard to just come back to say, remember when you was 21 and you was sexy and fine and you would do whatever
Girl,
you wanted
give it
to do
up. Give it up.
And sleep for 14 hours and eat your favorite. Remember all that? Yeah, I remember that. Can you get a little bit of that back? Like, can you get just a little bit back of that when you used to say no before people even asked you something? No. Now we in the, yes, sure, I'll figure it out. I'll make it work. No. So I figured, and being exhausted, to say yes to me and put me first. Because if I don't, nothing else is going to go right. And I'm just saying, I know I'm just beating the horses, the camels, how it goes, beating the
horses back.
Horses back, whatever. This ain't nothing new. Every woman listening to this, they heard this.
Yeah.
Put yourself first. Take care of yourself first. Think about yourself first. We still don't do it.
Yeah, I think this COVID thing has been interesting for me because my focus has been exercising, right? Because mentally I feel better, physically I feel better, I just feel better. And so it has been important for me to exercise. Like, everything else stops. I don't care. Babe, can you? Nope, my workout starts in 10 minutes. Mommy, can you? Nope, I ain't gonna be able to do it. Go figure it out. Like, that has been intentional for me. And most important, like, my trainer reached out and she was like, most people take advantage of the free and then they disappear, but you just keep going. She's like, you're working out every single day. And I'm like, yeah, and it's not about me looking better. It's more about me feeling. Yes.
Because when I leave this house at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to go walk around the block, the kids are sleeping, the alarm is on, and I ain't got nobody asking me shit. It is so freeing, right? Like, and then I come back and I probably have the biggest breakfast. It's not about the weight. It's about the mental space that I get.
Yeah. That freedom, that peace, working out. And then I think too, being able to do things that you didn't think you could do. While you say walking, I'm going to tell you business a little bit, Doc.
You started riding?
No, you know, my knees bad, child. However, what has changed though was, you know, in the beginning, I couldn't do burpees. Like I could not get that hip to like with the arthritis. We talked about this, right? I couldn't get my joints to function the way that I wanted them to function. I just couldn't. But I think one day she did some exercise and she was like, do 10 burpees. And I ended up doing them. And I was like,
see, when you move better, you move better.
Exactly. That was a good point. That was a really good
listen, this could be a whole conversation by itself, right? Because like I have bad knees too, and I have been doing been trying to do the beach body. What is the name? The autumn 80-day. The 80 days.
Yeah, something. I've seen the ad.
Right.
I've seen the ad.
And so I started with the 80 days, and then I was like, "Who, this shit hurt. I cannot do this." So then I dropped down to the 21 day, right? And then I was like, "Whoo, this taking some time too." But what I realized, and I just had this epiphany this morning, what I realized is that even with exercising, you have to do, and I know this shit, it's just that when you get old and get everything else in your mind, nothing really, you know, no good stuff is still there. You got to remind yourself, you got to put good stuff back in you. But you have to prep for the exercise, right? So like, you know, just trying to go down like you used to do when you was what, 20 years old?
21.
And do 20 sit-ups. That ain't happening.
That ain't
like you got to practice. You got to start with 2 at a time and work your way up to 20. Like trying to do some, what is that when you hold in your stomach on your elbows? What's those things?
Oh, the planks?
Yeah, planks. Like, I mean, you gotta work up to that. Like, even with squats, I was like, dang. But this morning it was lunges. I was like, oh my goodness, I can't even do a lunge anymore.
Yeah. You know what's funny
I just stopped the tape though. I just stopped the tape and I was like, I'm gonna practice.
You until you get it. The funny part about that too, though, is when you're younger, you just get down and do it, right?
You
don't care about form. You don't care about nothing, right? Child, I do those squats and those lunges, and I watch my knees. Like, let me make sure my form is right, because I sure can't hurt myself.
If the form is off, it's a wrap, right?
Yep. So
I wanted to say something to you, saying about the doing. What did you say, Sean? How did you say it? No, Sean said something about impressing yourself by doing the hard stuff, or something about. And I wanted to mention about impressing myself, like going through Dr. Sheva's program with the building of the website. It was a pivotal moment that I shared a long time ago, about 2 years ago, when I first started the real estate class in Georgia. And I told y'all I was all crying and tearful in class, and I was like, I should have been done with this online school. I should have took my license test I already passed.
All right.
Dr. Sheva was like, well, who are you in a rush for? Why are you trying to hurry and get it done? And I said, me. I want to impress me. I want to wake up and say, damn, you did that? You did. I want to impress me, right? So then that moment, I was like, dude, we got to do something to impress ourselves. And building that website from scratch and teaching children online for the past 2 days, I'm like looking in the mirror like, that was me.
I did that. And I'm so glad you did it, because I am not teaching website design again.
You decided not to teach it again?
Yes, that was brutal, y'all. I would teach people how to, I'm not going to teach people how to build from scratch. Now, if you got your own shit, we'll work within that. But building from scratch, y'all, whoo.
I was so happy. I was impressed with it. So I missed that. Like, we missed that when we become parents and adults and house managers. Impressing yourself with what you can do. Yeah. Stretching the limits of, like you said, I'm going to do these 10 squats. I'm doing it. I'm going to work up to it. And I'm like, what?
Because I impressed myself last year when I did the 10K, right? When I went to Disney and did the 10K.
Yeah,
and
that
so
was cool.
I'm like, if I just did this like 7 months ago, what the hell is the problem?
Yeah.
I can do it again. What's the problem?
It's been 7 months. It's been 7 months. That's the problem.
Ain't it crazy?
Yep.
Time goes so fast.
That was real good. Okay, so let me look at the comments real quick and see what's going on. Hey, Christina, Professor Christina's in here. Professor Nakonda's here. Hey, Erica. Hello. Hey, Ebony. Hey, Professor Joseph. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Jaquithia. Doc is in here, of course. Tracina's here. Laura. Dickie Poe. I don't even know who that is, but I just like saying thanks for joining us. Thank you, Dickie Poe.
Oh, Dickie Poe. Come on in, Dickie. Nice to see you.
Oh, my Lord.
All right, so Ebony says, Ebony says, I'm trying to convince my husband that we can homeschool and work too. Okay, well, guess what,
You
Ebony?
ain't got no choice.
Yeah, you ain't got no choice.
You gotta work.
Hey, right. And then not only that, but you've got 3 folks right here working and homeschooling at the same goddamn.
And we got a book to prove it, right?
Yep. We do.
You got it?
Yep, right here. You know, I always got the books on it, right? Best-selling authors.
Remember I was giving away copies in the group. Remember that?
Oh yeah, Thea is giving away. But you can work. It's just a matter of thinking and looking outside of the box. You can't think of school traditionally. I'll use Doc again as an example. The way they do school, her kids have a bakery that's outside of the home. So they actually have a standing bakery outside of the house. They school at the bakery. So their homeschool doesn't look like traditional school. She has a desk or a table. She has a bed for them to take naps when they need to take naps. She has everything that she needs to do to have school with them. For us in our house, our school day is typically right in the middle of the day. It starts around 10. We're done by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Thea, they get up early. They're early birds and get it done. I mean, you have to find the system, the plan, the schedule, the whatever is going to work for your family. So that may be homeschooling at night. So y'all have to think outside the box. That may be homeschooling on the weekends. You have to think way outside of the box when it comes to this. Did y'all want to add on to that?
Yeah, I think the problem for the system, when you come from the system to trying to figure out homeschooling, it'd be us that's in the way. It'd be the parents in the way, because we have this ideal, like you said, when you first started homeschooling, how it's supposed to look, what time it's supposed to take place, what you're supposed to learn, what the kids supposed to wear, where they supposed to sit, versus look, Daddy go to work in the daytime, I go to work at night, he takes this subject, I take this subject, we review on the weekends. You know, I know some parents who don't even school their kids. They drop them off at their sister's house while they go to work. They sister do the homeschooling. They pick them up. They review with the kids that evening when they get home over dinner. What did you learn at Auntie house? So it's very versatile. You know, it's up to you. It doesn't have to look a certain way.
Right.
I think it's hard for adults to think about getting outside of that. It has to be between the hours of 8 and 5, or has to be between these certain hours. Some people only homeschool on Saturdays and Sundays. That's when they can do it.
And I went through a trial and error to really find our groove. Like, of course, when we first started homeschooling, it was the morning thing and all that. And then as life kept happening and things kept changing, and like you said, Sean, I got damn $800 worth of orders over here. Oh, you gonna do your work at the job this morning, right? And so it just became a matter of figuring out what works. Like, who said that we got to sit here within these 4 walls and doing it? And even there were times when summertime, you know, my kids, they just seem to be just so, I guess, aggravated with being in the house all the time, and I can't be out in the sun for long. And so we would go to the library and do homeschooling because they love the library, and it was cool, and you know, and they had the kids room, and so they got to play in the library, do a little work, go look at some books, go play or whatever. And I know we can't do that now, but I'm just saying that it didn't look traditional. Right. You know, we had to figure out ways to keep everybody's momentum up and to keep learning fun and keep it engaging, and still be able to do the things that we need to do as far as with business. Because listen, you got to pay the bills. I mean, that is not optional, right? And if you don't homeschool your kids, and if they ain't getting no education, you going to jail. That's not an option either. So you got to figure it out. My day starts about 3 o'clock in the morning, and it is around 9 o'clock at night. In that, we doing about 3 or 4 jobs.
Her day ends at about 7 o'clock. You ain't finna hear from her after 7:01.
Listen, I've been working every night this week. I've been in homeschool.
You've been late.
Mindset training at 9 o'clock every night.
9 o'clock at
night. And every time I go on, I say, okay, y'all, we ain't gonna be here long.
Because you're gonna be asleep.
You've been doing good. Dr. Blades is with us as well. Let's see. Cherry says,
I wanted to tell you that we went to the library. Well, we go to the library. We've been going since the beginning of June. So at first in June, you couldn't come in. Like, you could come in and pick your books up or drop books off. That was it. But now they have it where it's social distancing. So some of the library parts you can't even go in. And then some parts they have no tables and no chairs. And then some of them they have like a table here, a chair here, a table there. So we found a cute little library that's next to our main city we live in, which is a smaller city. Brand new, huge library they built, but nobody's in there but the workers. The place is brand new, like nobody's in there but the workers. And they had like a table here and there. I was like, wow, no one is visiting in here. And every person in here had a mask on. Everybody in there had, the workers all had masks, but there's no visitors. So I was like, okay, we're going to go in here. What y'all want to do? So we stay in for 30 minutes to an hour. They look around. We get the book. Okay, let's go. But if I had time, I would have sat in there. So I know some people who are finding places that are kind of vacant or empty or less people there. But it's up to you and your family. Like if you have, like Dr. Sheva has lupus, so she's trying to avoid people at all. Well, we don't have any kind of ailment, so we don't have a reason to completely avoid people at all, but we are careful about the places we're going. Starbucks was our favorite place to learn because the kids would get a cookie. Yeah. They would get a cookie after learning. So they was like, oh, what we got to do? Let's hurry up and finish so we can get out and treat. Yeah. That was our favorite place to learn.
Starbucks,
we sat outside.
Starbucks and
so we live in Florida. So we live in Florida. So we got to sit outside, 12 months out the year. It didn't matter what time of year it was. We would sit outside, enjoy it outside, do our work. I would have my computer. And then they say, okay, let's get, I'm done. I'm on my cookie. So it's just up to you what works for you. Some people, I don't like the school at home. Like I don't like it at all. Like I don't like to bring a book. It just doesn't put me in the mind frame of schoolwork home. Right. So I like the libraries and the Starbucks and the restaurants outside or sitting at the beach or in a park. It's kind of easier for your kids too. Like it's easier for them to figure it out versus I'm at home. I'm not doing
vitamin D, right?
Like, but it all depends on the child too. Yeah, I mean, everybody can't go outside and work. They get distracted.
Because I like a whiteboard. I gotta write.
Cause you
like I gotta be listen. I gotta be in teacher mode. Like my kids call me Dr. Well, one of my children called me Dr. Sheva or Dr. Quinn when we in school. It's a whole vibe that happens. It's a whole.
Oh yeah, they got a whole.
Your kids, I love them. They listen. They give you a run for your money every chance they get. Every chance they get you.
You're like, Dr. Quinn, is this okay? Yes, scholar. Yes, scholar. Look,
Charity said,
around here.
That's so funny. Charity said in response to Ebony, where there's a will, there's a way. I chased 10 tiny humans while homeschooling my 16-year-old. So it's possible. She does a daycare. She has a daycare. One of her things, I'm going to tell her business a little bit, but one of her things is her son reads on a treadmill. He stands up and reads while he's on treadmill. That is amazing to me.
King would love to do that. If we had one, I could see him do that.
Yeah, in different ways. That's a different way. Now, me and my type A personality, I'd be like, sit your behind down somewhere, get off my darn treadmill.
It wouldn't work for you.
Yes, but he is reading, doing his work on the treadmill, and it works for him.
Yeah.
Hey, D, let's see. Doc says, Doc Blade says, Dr. Sheva, I love your look.
Girl, yes, I cut off my hair, y'all. I cut off my hair.
Makeup on.
She just do it. Listen, I'm done.
Yes. Listen, I might have some parts tomorrow. I'm just kidding.
Oh, Lord.
Ebony says, thank you. He's got some reservations because one of our kiddos is special needs. So you can do it for sure. And I have some information for you.
I would suggest scheduling a consultation with Sean, the homeschool guru, and y'all can have a deep dive about
Absolutely.
Doc, cut that off real quick. Hey, Sylvia, thanks for joining. Let's see. We did school at 8 p.m. last night. There you go. So much that I don't know about homeschooling, but I'm trying to figure this out. Well, listen, you in the right place, right? Because we talk about it. That's what we talk about here.
Day in and day out.
Child, there's a bunch of comments. I'll come back to the comments, y'all. Child.
Is it a lot?
It's a nice little, We're going to come back to the comments, okay, y'all? So let's see. We said putting ourselves first, right? It was number one. Okay, so Doc, you give us number 2 to discuss. What did you learn? And if you say quit, I'm going to come through this screen.
I did quit, no.
Okay, well, come on, tell us.
I quit on so many levels. Just the whole, the exhaustion thing, it's so deep. So like we'll talk about last year, okay, last academic year. So like earlier last academic year, I started to just really feel like I needed more, right? I needed more. It wasn't that I wasn't doing self-care and all that stuff. It's just that there were some things that I needed to do for Sheva. And again, like I knew that I was getting older, and of course we all know that, but there were just some things I wanted to complete. And so it was completing writing more books. It was like I said, doing travel, right? Traveling and running. I always wanted to just, hey, go run all over the world. So it was those things that I wanted to do. However, some of the things that got in my way, of course, was that me and my kid's father is divorced, and I'm the primary educator because I wouldn't have any other way. Now the kids won't have no other way either. But so that carries a lot of weight. You know what I mean? Like, even though we had these plans and everything and all the stuff that goes with homeschooling, it was still just the mere fact that I would be gone often at a week at a time or so, you know? And so finally I was just had to say, you know, I quit worrying about it. I quit trying to figure it out. And I'm like, listen, if these are the things that you want to do for you, well, then you're going to have to relinquish some control. Again, pat they backpack, you know, do things a little bit different in business, such as we're not serving this week. We're not taking any orders, right? Like I just quit a lot of shit. So I packed my bags, started going and traveling and running in different places. I mean, I just did what I ain't gonna say I did what I wanted to do, but I gave up some of that control. And I even started training my kids to stay at home by themselves. Like I was asking people, like, what age can they stay home by themselves? Of course, their daddy wasn't trying to hear that, right? Because, you know, he's like, is you crazy? But
I stay home by themselves since they was like 8.
But I did it anyway. And for me, staying home by themselves was like me going to walk or run around the neighborhood. You know what I mean? Because prior to that, gym exercising was such a struggle. Yeah. Because like my kids didn't like the gym, or they thought that they had to pick in what gym they went to because of the babysitters that was at the gym. And then, so they like, are we going to this one? What about that one? Because I had about 3 damn memberships going on trying to please everybody, right? Mercy. And then when we would go to the track, it was like after we finished on the track with me, they want to go play basketball. And I'm like, this shit is not about you. Like, it is not about you. Right. So it was like this struggle that I was having. And so as I'm fighting with them, my ass is growing. And I'm like, this isn't working. And so I finally, I was like, you know what? We have a second business phone. I will leave the business phone here with them. Like I say, about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, I go out, do about an hour of walking and stuff outside. You know what I mean? Just get out and get my exercise in. If I get up early enough, I'll do my weight training here in the house. But whatever that looks like, but I had to train them for that. And it was so funny because when I first started training them, we have, sensors on the house alarm, right? So I had to tell them, you cannot go past this room. If you go past this room, the alarm is going to go off. These jokers, damn, doing low crawls and stuff across the house. I'm like, what is you doing?
Trying not to censor. I told you, y'all, them kids be giving her a run for her money. I always know that she be talking, them kids be tearing her up.
I'm like, just stay up. If you got use the bathroom, that's all you can do. Go to the bathroom. If there's emergency, here's the phone. 911. I'm right out the door. Like, I'm not going anywhere. But we had to go through that because I needed that back, right? It had been damn near 10 years since I had worked out consistently. And I mean, even though I was trying to eat well, still like inside, I wasn't being fulfilled. And those things that I needed to fulfill me, I couldn't do it with kids in tow. So I was like, I quit. And so then come this year, when the whole COVID thing came about, again, I've always been the one that, hey, go with your dad on the weekend because we're doing schoolwork during the week. Yeah. But child, when COVID hit, I'm like, listen, this is what I need. I sent that text and I'm like, every other week you got the kids, right? You can have them Sunday when you pick them up, Sunday to Sunday, you're getting the kids because I got shit I need to do and I don't need nobody asking me what's for dinner. So you get the kids. So,
like love little ass was yesterday.
Right.
Talking, right?
In the middle of the meeting. What's for dinner? I don't know. What is for dinner?
But But I needed just a break because that's what exhaustion was starting to feel like. I was like becoming anxiety was becoming on swole because I couldn't get out and do exercise without having to also be concerned with the care of other people. Anxiety was sitting in when COVID hit because of the fact that I'm trying to, because when COVID hit, I mean, we were all doing everything at home. I'm not gonna say when COVID hit, but I'm talking about when we start to ease it up some. So when we start to ease those strains up some, then I was like, you're going to your dad every other week. Because before then, I mean, shit, we were out here cooking 3 meals. And granted, we do these things as homeschooling families anyway, but it was intensified. Like it was a whole nother level of stress that said, okay, you got to order the groceries. You got to make sure you got everything you want. And if you can't pick up groceries from this store because they're full. And then this place is not delivering because they don't have any delivery dates. Well, it was just too much.
It was a bunch.
It was a bunch. And exhaustion had set in. I was like, I'm done. Yeah. I am not going to be your only caregiver in this season. So, of course, with me having lupus, their dad was like, okay, so are you sure about this? Because the whole being asymptomatic and all that and bringing stuff back home. I'm like, listen, it's either way I'm going to time out. So you got to pick one and take the damn kids for a week. And hey, we should be okay. And so that's what they at right now. They with their daddy, right? Because this is his week.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's good though in itself. That's good in itself because we always do that. We always give, and then we sitting there looking stuff. Yeah. Tired, no rest, can't figure it out why we tired. It's because we keep giving about stuff we don't even need to worry about. Like you talking about the grocery shopping. I remember when all that started, child. I think I was ordering groceries from 3 different grocery stores just to get what we needed. Like
I think I got probably about 1,000 rolls of toilet tissue over here.
Wow. I didn't have to worry about that. Connie had hooked me up, so we good.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. You are absolutely correct. I stopped. Just stop worrying. I quit worrying about it.
I think that's the hard part, right?
Yeah.
Ain't that hard?
100%.
I was exhausted. I was done.
See, the beautiful part about Doc is she actually said, okay, I'm at the point of exhaustion, so I'm going to have to break. Yeah. And so she decided to do something versus women breaking. Right. They just break, whether they shaking or had these migraines or incapacitated, like they just break. They don't, before they get to the breaking point, they don't say, wait a minute, I need to do something drastic because I'm about to go down. The ship is sinking. Yeah, right?
But that comes with introspection too, right? That comes with introspection, with knowing that something is wrong with you. Sitting there in your stuff saying, this is not right. Like if you don't realize that this stuff is happening, then you'll never know, like her, okay, I quit, right? If you don't see it, sometimes it's just too late. They just don't see it, right? They're too busy in it, stuck in it, just going to even realize that they need to say, I quit.
Right. And that was me when I went through postpartum depression.
Ooh.
Like I was just in it. Like, I mean, to me, there was no coming out. Like this was just the new normal. Yeah. And so even though the babies were crying and I needed to work and all these things would happen, I mean, I had accepted the fact that this was my new life. This was the cycle, and this is what we're going to do. I'm supposed to be broke. I'm supposed to be this. This is what being a mom is. And I mean, but when I decided that, this shit cannot be right. Hell no, y'all ass is gonna have to pay me for homeschooling advice, right? That's when I found my freedom.
That's good. I think that's absolutely wonderful. That's good. Just that in that moment, just realizing. And you talking about postpartum, we all have our little stories when it comes to that. But I mean, you're right. You're so thick in it. You're so like in the midst of it too. Unless you have somebody like a Dr. Sheva, that's who she was for us in that moment too. Like, y'all need to quit. Why y'all doing this? It's some peanut butter and jelly in there.
Me. Especially the last 2 years. Y'all know I was like, when you dream about white rooms and white jackets consistently, some shit is wrong. Like I'm driving past the place that I know I should check in. Like, you want to go in the parking lot? Like, We can get a break. Like, we can sleep. Won't nobody bother us. I don't need to think about money. I don't need to think about where we're going to live. I don't need to think about how I'm going to make money. I can just go in there. You can sign yourself in. Like, if you dreaming about that, something ain't right. So you need somebody to say, girl, like she was like, leave they little asses. Get up and go.
And I know I say that a lot, don't I?
She say leave, and she say forget them, no matter who it is.
But it makes sense, right? It makes sense, right? Because like I'm thinking about that, I'm like, you know, if something happened to me, they just gonna go find somebody else. Okay, so she's gone. Well, she didn't work out. We killed that one. Let's go find us a new. She killed over, man. Oh well,
exactly. They gonna find somebody else, and that's the reason she had to come to. Like, if something happened to me, they gonna go to their daddy anyway. So hell, go on and go.
Ain't that something?
Go now. Don't wait.
Yeah, don't wait.
But why are we hesitant to think about? Like, why are we hesitant to say that as moms? Like, if we're not here, they just gonna go to somebody else in the first place. Why? Is it because we're ingrained to think that we are supposed to survive without us? Yeah, we're ingrained to believe that we are their end all be all.
I know that I carry guilt. I carried the guilt because my mother, she worked a lot when I was a child. So like, I didn't have a relationship with my mom until I was an adult, really, right? And that's because she was doing what every other single parent does, you know, out working, making the ends meet, making sure that
same way mine was,
right? You know, she was just doing the thing. But on the other side of that, later in life realized that, you know, I felt abandoned, right? And so I didn't want to put those abandonment issues that I had. I didn't want my kids to have to go through that. And so I was damn determined to make sure that they didn't have to experience that. And so, you know, by that, I felt like that I always needed to be there, even when they were with their dad. I needed to make sure they knew that I was in the background. Let me call and make sure that they're okay. You know, let me make sure of this and let me make sure they're good here. And it just, you know, came to a time when I was like, this is too much. Like, they've been with their dad. Serious, my kids have been with their dad since Sunday. I have not called and checked on their asses one time. Because I don't need to. They're in safe and responsible hands, right? Right. Someone that loves them just as much as I do. And then one time when them little jokers told me, when I was like, did y'all miss me while y'all was gone? And they was like, you know, actually, I don't even think, one of them, you know, the youngest one, I don't even think that I thought about you really, mommy. Okay, we good. So I'm gonna start worried about you too, chick. We good.
I told y'all, those kids, Z and T, give her a run for her money on a daily basis. On a daily basis. On a daily basis, they tell her.
You know, if my little one said that to me, I would be filled with tears, with glad and joy. I would be so excited. Like, oh, this is working.
See, but you know, my sensitive butt, I wouldn't even ask that question because I'd be crying.
You don't want to know the answer?
I don't want to know the answer, so I ain't asking it. I don't want to know that you don't miss me. You better miss me. You better.
And then when they came home last week with their hair comb, I was like, what? Oh, shit, y'all doing real good.
Wait, what the hell?
Trade-offs are working out. Yes, child.
He did it or somebody did it?
He did it, girl.
Wow.
I was like, okay. Because there was another thing I did. Before they went to their dads, I would make sure that everybody's hair was washed and they had
doing all that extra for no reason.
Yeah. Your dad is more than capable. He got
That's amazing.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't the best, but it was done.
It was
right?
done. He made an effort.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, what?
I am proud of him. Good for him. Good for him. And good for you because you ain't got to worry about it now.
I'm like, y'all off looking crazy any damn day. Go ahead. I'm just kidding. Just joking.
All right, y'all. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions in the comments and then I'm going to jump off of here because Thea, you got another appointment coming up, don't you?
Yeah.
She's talking about, yeah. So I'll let you guys tell people how to get a hold of you as well. Let's look at the comments real quick. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody said, do you use Saxon Math? Do either of y'all use Saxon Math? Nope. I use Learn Math Fast. Thea, what do you use?
I use Singapore math.
Okay. Doc, what do you use?
Whew, that's such a tough question.
Child.
She make her own up.
She pieces it together. We'll answer.
I say you need to know multiplication. I'll put you some problems on the board.
Yeah, she pieces it together. So we don't use that particular math. And then let's see. Do y'all homeschool year round? So Doc, you start answering that question.
It's not intentional that I homeschool year round, but we do because like my kids are just they're always in learning mode now. Like it has definitely a part of their lifestyle, and they always want workbooks and things to do and buy books, and they researching on their own and all that. So no, I don't sit down and say, okay, over the summer you're learning this. You know what I mean? It just, if someone is offering a course and something they want to take, I ask them they want to take it. They say, yeah, I buy it, and we're good. But during the academic year, it's more organized and structural learning, right? And so the summer is just like whatever happens, happens.
All right. And Thea D?
Yes. We pretty much follow the same schedule from January to December. You get up, get your breakfast, clean your room, comb your hair, put your clothes on, come in to the table and sit down to your work. Like we do that. It doesn't matter if it's summer, winter, fall. We do the same thing. Now the level of how many subjects of what you're learning may be lighter in the summer. Like summer is a requirement of reading, writing, and math. I don't care you got to do that every day. Reading, writing, and math. You got to do that every day. Only because we don't want you to forget or fall back or I don't know, or those three you have to do in the summer, mandatory. But in the fall and the spring, you may have some different subjects that you have to take. So we learn year round. Yeah.
So we are in line more so with Doc. So we believe that homeschooling is a lifestyle. We all believe that, right? So the learning doesn't always take place with the book. And so we don't always do book learning. Right now, we're learning investing. We're supposed to be taking easy economics class, but I have not brought my kids to the class. So we'll be watching the recording, and that's my fault. But we're learning about that, and they're looking for companies to invest in. That's what we're doing. So that's different for us during a normal school year, but we typically do 6 weeks on and 1 week off. So that's how our school year goes. So I am going to let Thea, I'm gonna let you go first this time. You tell people who you are and how they can get a hold of you.
But I did want to tell you, I'm different from Sean and Dr. Sheva. Like I'm more of a unschooler and a homeschooler. So we do a lot of subject learning. Like she's doing investing with her kids, but we do a lot of real life discussions and learning. So it's not as curriculum based or written, or you have to know this. I need you to know what an asset is, and I need you to know what income measures are. And it's just in the life of moment what our interests are learning. So it's a different type of learning versus creating this curriculum where we follow line by line and I need to test you until you get this and then we'll move to the next thing. So ours is very different. But I am Thea Parker, right? And I have a online teaching platform, which is Easy Economics for Scholars, where I help families discuss economic issues and get their young scholars to think more critically about how things work and where they come from. Right now I'm doing a 3-day free class. I mean, you can sign up and get the free recordings. Tomorrow's my last day. Today we talked about money. It was all about the Benjamins. Kids looked at me crazy when I was singing that song. Like, what the hell is she talking about?
They don't know. We old, child. It's old.
And then Keith Jr. was like, I think I've heard that before. So
my daddy played it.
I said, thank you so much. I said a long time ago when your parents were younger, it was a song called All About the Benjamins. And I put up the picture and they was like, oh, I said, yes, Benjamin Franklin is on the $100 bill. So that was pretty funny that I did that in class. But so I did that today. We have it tomorrow for scarcity as our last day of class. And I'm just introducing just regular resource terms and where they come from so kids can start thinking more critically about spending mom and daddy's money, right? That it take a lot of hard work to bring to the table whatever you're eating and wearing and where you live. It don't just fall off the tree. So that's me. Y'all can follow me on Easy Economics for Scholars on our Facebook page. And I'm going to go over there and do a little video as we get off of here.
All right. And Doc, tell them. So Doc is my mentor, right? Doc
I don't know how that happened.
Listen, well, and you ain't going nowhere. Doc is a homeschool coach as well, but she is more of the, I'm just gonna tell you how it is.
Business, right?
Yeah,
Teacher.
Take it, take it how you take it, right? And I'm more nice and sweet, but Doc,
I'm like,
Doc,
you ain't did this shit.
yes, child. Doc will tear you up. However, she is also a homeschool coach, so I'm gonna let her speak as well and tag her page while I'm in here.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I am Dr. Sheva Quinn, and let's see, what do I teach? I teach a lot of stuff. So it depends on what season it is, right? But what you probably want to know is that I teach at the Black Classical University, a school that I founded because my kids needed to learn Black history. Y'all want a little brief of the story? Listen, somebody asked about curriculum earlier, right? So we used to attend classical conversation, right? We used to attend classical conversation. Before then, the name of our homeschool was Q Stream University. So if you ever see Q Stream by my name, that's what that was. So we used to attend classical conversation, and the conversations didn't have too much to do with us. And my kids were like, just all got too much Black history going on up in them to be in this in this surrounding that did not include a lot of them. And so finally, I quit teaching there, and actually did not want to hire me back anyway. Right? They didn't want me and my kids back because we would spend too much Black knowledge up in there. So yeah, so anyway, and I just renamed our school and renamed our school and repositioned our vision and reposition us as a homeschool. And so, so we have Black Classical University, where we focus on teaching African American history and culture. And this year we are doing writing. I'm excited about writing. And one of the reasons that we're doing writing is because around the third grade, our children should really start to focus on more structured writing. And unfortunately, I looked for a teacher and I couldn't find one online. So that means I get to become the teacher. And of course, I wanted their writing to have an infusion of African-American literature and things like that. So we're going to be studying some writings from Dr. Martin Luther King. We're going to be studying Malcolm X. We're going to be studying Marcus Garvey and someone else I said, but we're going to be studying some of their speeches and pulling out some key points about them and all that. So we're using an Institute of Excellence in Writing, which is a classical writing program, but we're putting some Black in it. That's what we're doing, putting some Black in it. So I'm excited about that. Right now over at the Black Classical University, we actually have a free course for you to go join. It is Black Lives Matter. It is amazing. I love the course, right? If I must say so myself, of course I wrote it. But it's just been good. It's been so good. It is an 8-week course. We are on week 3 this week. Last week we talked about Emmett Till, and this week we're going to be talking about MLK and I think Malcolm X. We're going to be going through the whole civil rights era this week, and we're just going to keep traveling and talking about people that have lost their lives because people felt like Black lives did not matter. Mm-hmm. And so you can find me on Facebook anywhere, put in Sheva Quinn, and you'll get so many options because I never close shit down like I'm supposed to. Just pick what you want, right?
I cannot stand you. Hey, quick question though. Your writing course, you only had a certain amount of slots available. How many do you have left?
I think we have like three left. I'm only taking 12 kids.
Okay.
And 3 slots. It may be down to 2 now if I'm not mistaken, but if you want in, let me know. Send me a message. It is not being advertised on the school page because I reached out. A person reached out to people that I knew that would probably appreciate this course. And so I reached out to them personally, so it's not being advertised. The price of the course is, well, how much is it? $197. Mm-hmm. But however, $50 can reserve your seat. $50 can reserve your seat. And the last payment is due by August the 15th. And so if you want to get in on that, come on, because we're going to be writing, right? It's going to be great.
I got to say something about that Black Lives Matter class, y'all. It is amazing. I registered as an adult. There are a few adults that are in the class. Let me let y'all know.
But let me tell you, it's about
Yep.
50% adults up in there, y'all.
Hilarious.
Yep.
And I'm waiting for the replays because you know you do school.
They are loaded. They are loaded.
Are they?
Too.
Yeah, we don't do school on Friday, so for us to show up on Friday, I have to fight.
Loaded. Yes.
Okay.
It is good. Go check it out. Everybody, go check it out. Go check out the replays, right? You don't have to buy. Well, we have a workbook for sale. If you want it, you can buy it, but you don't have to. Just go check out the replays. Go register for the course and watch the replays and let us know what you think.
I'm gonna have, if I posted both of y'all's pages, I posted yours, Teach Scholars, I posted Easy Economics, but can y'all go in and post the links to your course on the page so people can join? D asked Dr. Sheva, how do I join your group? I'm not sure exactly what group she's speaking of.
I know, because she got 100 on.
She does, and I just help us, Father.
Okay,
so listen, I'm not even gonna let her go down that road because I got a bunch going on. But listen, thank y'all so much for joining us today. Again, these are my chicks. I'm probably gonna bring them back randomly again. Don't know when. I do want to talk about race and homeschool. Ooh. I do want to have that conversation. I
want to write the book.
Well, Doc,
forget the conversation. We're writing the book.
See,
we're writing the book. If y'all want to be a part of a book that I am writing about, listen, I'm going to recruit some authors right quick, right? If you want to be a part of a book that I am writing about raising Black kids, what is it? Biracial families, raising Black kids. I'm writing that book. I don't know when it's going to be published, but I'm writing the story. It might be next year, right? But I'm writing that story. Okay, so
y'all saw Thea in our head drop because there's a lot of background to that, but we're not gonna get into it. But what I will tell you, the background is
me and my listen. Every time I write a book, I get mad as hell.
Every time she writes a book. Every time she writes a book, I ain't writing no other book. I ain't writing no other book. Forget that. I ain't doing. I'm gonna do my own stuff. And then 2 weeks later, y'all, we write a new book. Come on and join me. We write a new book.
Because people need to know. We gotta have these, like you said, we gotta have these conversations.
We do.
But I want them to last, so I want to put them in a book, right?
Well.
So if you are raising Black kids, and if you are of another race, let us interview you. We want the story.
Yeah. So these
again, I want to talk about that.
These are my chicks. We probably gonna come back and talk about it. It might be a little tense for some folks, but it's gonna be funny for us because that's how we roll. It's gonna be truthful. So I'll probably bring you back again, or maybe we'll go on Doc's page and Doc go on Doc's page because that's Doc's thing. Like that's our whole thing. So thank y'all so much for joining us. We may come back again. So I don't know. Probably though. Probably. Right. I appreciate you, Doc. I appreciate you, Thea D.
Thank you for having me.
Y'all have a good day. Bye, y'all.
Bye.